Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Look, I know it's the bye week, but we still got some football to watch. A little preview for our upcoming opponents. Alabama, Texas A&M going to play on Saturday. Also Kentucky and Georgia. A lot of football to watch, and I think this Tennessee football team is starting to figure out their identity. Play a little defense. Just be efficient with Joe Milton on offense, and obviously run the football. It was good to see Cooper Mays back out on the field. I think that helps this offense kind of fire on all cylinders. And what an electric environment it was for that South Carolina game. Dark mode, 7:30 kickoff. Lots of recruits were in the building. Put out a video talking about that. Four-star running back Daniel Hill was in the house. The Vols made up a little ground there. They made some momentum. Sounds like Alabama probably up there at the top, but Tennessee right on their heels. Also, four-star wide receiver Cam Michael was inside Neyland Stadium for the game against the Gamecocks, and he sounds like he is all Vol. But the big one, five-star offensive tackle Jordan Seaton. Matt Ray of VolQuest said Tennessee showed about as well as they could. He says, I think Tennessee has a real shot at this point. Austin Price followed it up and said this weekend could not have went better. Look, Josh Heupel is making Jordan Seaton a priority. This is a quote from Seaton coming out of the visit. Heupel ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner with me. He says, we spent a lot of time together, and that time together was very good for us. He's not just going to tell me things I want to hear. When I came here, we went over my film. We talked about other things I could do better. He said there wasn't a lot of mistakes because he calls me one of the best athletes that he's ever seen coming out of high school. Now, when you look at Tennessee in the class of 2024, currently sitting at 7th in the country according to On3, you add a guy like Jordan Seaton, you got a real opportunity to bump inside the top 5. Right now, Jordan Seaton would be 3rd behind Jordan Ross as far as a prospect would go. Of course, you got Mike Matthews, 5-star wide receiver, Jordan Ross, the 5-star edge rusher. Can you get Jordan Seaton in the boat? But it is also flip season. It is flip season. You're watching the visits. There's some guys out there, one particularly that I want to talk about, that Tennessee is going to have an opportunity to flip. You land some of these guys, you're looking at a top 5 class and continuing that momentum that Josh Heupel has built. VolQuest put out earlier today that Cam Franklin, depending on which grading service you look at, Cam Franklin is a 4-star according to the On3 industry rankings. 247 Sports and Rivals both have him as a 5-star. He's a top 40 player nationally. He's the guy that's going to move the needle. But they said that Cam Franklin has been reaching out to Tennessee about a possible visit for the Georgia game. Now, they did say this one feels like a long shot, but anything is possible. Now, I also want to talk about another guy that Tennessee could possibly flip. Before we do that, do me a favor, smash that thumbs up just below the video. It's quick, free, and easy, and it does help the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you're new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media. We don't talk at you here. We talk with you. We are building a community of Tennessee fans, for the fans, by the fans. If you like the content, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You're not going to miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. Taking the weekend off. I'm going to enjoy some football, enjoy some time with my family. We'll be back on Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. That's when we're going to move the fan call-in show. You guys can come on. We'll talk about that Alabama A&M game. We'll get geared up heading into the Texas A&M game coming up next weekend. Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So don't miss it, and then we'll be back full steam ahead. Regular content as always. But the guy I want to talk about is Cam Fountain. And I mentioned him briefly, gave you guys a little teaser this morning because Cam Franklin's a guy that was really trending towards Tennessee. Tennessee had all the momentum. Tennessee was told by Cam Fountain that he was in the boat. He was committing to Tennessee, takes the official out in California, and all of a sudden he jumps in the boat. He is committed to the Trojans. So does Tennessee have an opportunity to flip Cam Fountain? And we're going to get into it and talk about it, but you look at the ratings on the screen there. 4-star prospect, 6'5", 240 pounds, out of Atlanta, Georgia. Top 100 player and top 10 edge rusher. When you look at this football team, and again, we talk about the identity of this team this year and how it's a little bit different. Last year we're going to go out, we're going to lead the country in scoring. We're going to have these big explosive plays, and the defense just has to hold up, just be efficient. But Josh Heupel told us, he said, we're not just going to be efficient. We want to play elite defense at Tennessee, and it starts on the defensive line. You look at the guys that are impacting games, guys like Tyler Barron, guys like James Pierce, Joshua Josephs, coming off the edge, and then you look at recruiting. right? You look at recruiting, and you got Caleb Herring, Shandavion Bradley, a couple of freshmen on this football team. We had opportunity to see Caleb Herring with the sack fumble recently, so he's already making plays as a true freshman. But you are seeing this football team be built around the defensive line, particularly that edge position. So if you could add a guy like Cam Fountain into this class of 24, and again, you look, Jordan Ross, already got him committed in the boat, 5-star edge rusher. That's a game changer. And you start stacking these recruiting classes. Kellen Lindstrom, 4-star edge rusher. You start adding these guys on top of each other. Iron sharpens iron. The cream rises to the top. Now, does Tennessee have an actual opportunity to flip Cam Fountain? Now, why am I making this video? Why am I talking about flip season? Well, first, Cam Franklin, Cam Fountain, we're talking about both of these guys. The fact that Cam Franklin is looking to visit. Get him on campus. Get him on campus and see what happens. But when we talk about Cam Fountain, this article goes back to September. Tennessee working to flip 4-star USC edge commit Cam Fountain. It's been a conversation that's been going on for months at this point, for weeks. It says here when Cam Fountain committed to USC in June, it came just days after his official visit to Los Angeles. Just before his trip and commitment to Southern California, Tennessee was thought to be in a good position to land the elite defensive lineman. With just over 3 months to the early signing period, the Volunteers have not given up on Fountain's recruitment. Again, this goes back a month ago. This is a quote from Austin Price. They're working to get him on campus, and I think that's where it starts. You got to get him on campus sometime this fall. If you're able to do that, then you have a legitimate chance to potentially flip the Southern Cal commit. He has indicated to the staff that Tennessee was in a phenomenal spot when he left here at the end of May. He went on his official visit the 1st of June and committed to USC. AP goes on to say, so again, I think that Tennessee is someone that he's always liked. He's liked a ton. And the Vols are trying to get him here for a game this fall. Until he puts that pen to paper, so to speak, with an official visit, it's kind of hard for me to say that Tennessee is definitely in a spot where they can flip him. But once he gets on campus, I think at that point, Tennessee is definitely lurking for Southern Cal. So can Tennessee get him on campus? This was from Matt Ray at VolQuest earlier this week, talking about how Cam Fountain's taking visits, right? He's still taking visits. A lot of people were asking about South Carolina because there's a little buzz there. He's visited Auburn unofficially twice. He's planning to visit Florida State on November the 11th. So it doesn't sound to me like Cam Fountain's recruitment is shut down. Again, Wednesday, Matt Ray says South Carolina was a factor for him before he committed to USC. He's working on a date to visit Tennessee, so we will see if that happens. Now, one of the things going on during the bye week, this coaching staff is out on the recruiting trail. Rodney Garner actually visited Cam Fountain on Thursday, so he went down to Georgia to visit Fountain. So we'll see. We'll see. It goes on to talk here about the relationship that Cam Fountain has with Tennessee. Says Fountain told On3 in April that Vols defensive line coach Rodney Garner has been his point of contact with the Vols since the beginning of his recruitment, and that Tennessee was the first Power 5 program to extend him an offer. Here's a quote. I love it there. Have the same feelings there. They've been there from the start. They're like that second. They're like the second school to offer me. Says I probably hadn't even played half of a season yet before they offered. Coach Garner offered me. He said he saw the potential that I have. This is what Chad Simmons, director of recruiting at On3, had to say. This is towards the end of August. Says Cam Fountain's committed to USC, but he is still in communication with multiple schools. One is Tennessee. Fountain is looking to take a game day visit to Knoxville this fall, and despite being committed to the Trojans, the Vols continue to be a school to watch. South Carolina is another SEC program on his radar, and Fountain continues to explore his options. What better sales pitch than Neyland Stadium, right? We did the morning show earlier today, and we talked about Jordan Seaton and the environment, the electricity, and how that won him over. And you know, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, we're talking about Jordan Seaton. Anybody in the chat, anybody in the comments would have said, Boogie, you're crazy. There's no shot. There's absolutely no shot that Jordan Seaton ends up at Tennessee. But all it takes is that trip to Rocky Top. All it takes is that one time inside of Neyland Stadium to see what we are all about. Now, keep in mind, Cam Fountain has already loved him some Tennessee. He's already loved him some Rodney Garner. So if it's flip season, you got to get him on campus first. Like AP said there in that quote, you got to get him on campus first. But I've always felt like Tennessee was going to get Cam Fountain back on Rocky Top and have an opportunity to swing him. But I thought it was interesting this morning, seeing the name Cam Franklin in there as well. A possible visit for that Georgia game. Can Tennessee continue this momentum? Every week the stakes get bigger. Can you go out and beat Texas A&M next week And then you got a huge, huge test on the road against Alabama before you follow that up and go on the road to play Kentucky. What does this football team look like when Georgia comes to town? It's flip season. What do you think? Jump into the comments. I know there's going to be a lot of talk about NIL, and it's going to be a bidding war. Who do you spend the money on? Who do you not? Do you spend it on Jordan Seaton? Do you save it for the transfer portal? Do you spend it on a guy like Cam Fountain? I want to hear from you guys in the chat. As always, do me a favor, smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, go check out the Talkin VAWLS merch. That link's in the description below. There's also a link for how you can get involved in the NIL game. You want it to be a bidding war? You want to win some of these recruits? You can join up with Spire Sports Group. Join the volunteer club. That link's in the description below as well. But that's going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.